you want me to keep an eye on your computer, on your email from them?
Hi guys, so sorry for the all the technical difficulties. We are waiting for Gretchen to come and join us, but until then, basically we are hosting an Instagram Live to discuss hair loss awareness, especially for women, as August is Hair Loss Awareness Month. And one of the things that is often asked is, how do you treat this at home, and how can you potentially restore hair or address thinning hair? And I know that as women, and as anybody, one second. Yeah, as women, a lot of times hair is so important, and this is something that I have dealt with. So part of our treatment research was, hi.
Hi, sorry about that. I ended up having to log in on my own account because it wouldn't let me do it on the Bosley for some reason.
No worries,
So,
that's all
we're
right.
here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so sorry for all the technical difficulties.
So sorry about that.
No, not a problem at all. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I just wanted to discuss hair loss awareness and hair thinning, especially as August is the National Hair Loss Awareness Month. And I think that there's nobody better to discuss this with than somebody who's a trichologist and an expert in this sort of field. And you also run your own salon, so I kind of want to pass off the baton to you to introduce yourself and what a trichologist really does.
Okay. Well, my name is Gretchen Friese, and I am a trichologist. I work with BosleyMD. I've been with them for over 10 years now in different capacities. I was an educator for a while. I'm also a hairstylist, so I deal with a lot of real life clients coming in with hair loss concerns, and I've met a lot of different people in the different walks and stages of hair loss. And I find it very fascinating because there are so many different reasons that we do lose hair. And then there are differences between male and female pattern baldness, and the different reasons that maybe a man would lose hair as opposed to women, even if it wasn't pattern baldness. So I like to be able to share information with people when I can.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. And also, if anybody is watching has any questions regarding this specific topic, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we will try to get through them as we go along and towards the end. But basically, as you had mentioned, there are so many different reasons as to why hair loss and hair thinning can happen. What percentage of people actually experience this?
They're finding now that about 40% of women are experiencing hair loss, and upwards of 50 to 60% of men these days.
Wow. And what might that look like for different, between men and women?
Sorry.
What might this look like? I'm so sorry. It can look differently for men and women, but what might it look like then?
So for women, we generally lose hair in different areas. So women are going to lose hair more in the front here and then in the temple areas. So visually, that's going to be different. Men generally start losing hair right here in the cap of the top of their crown. And then also women can tend to lose hair throughout their whole head. We call that diffuse hair loss. And that'll happen a lot when they're experiencing more like thyroid things and even some hormonal hair loss.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the hormonal hair loss. What are the other aspects that can cause hair loss and hair thinning?
So the main reason for hair loss is something called androgenetic alopecia, and that is what we call patterned hair loss. And that is caused by a sensitivity to a hormone called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT for short. And the DHT goes and it attacks the hair follicle, minimizing the follicle, so the hair finally gets thinner and thinner, falls out, and then the follicle closes. So that's the most common form loss. But then also, if we're talking about women, hormonal changes like childbirth, menopause, thyroid issues, stress, illness, medication and medication changes, all of those things can cause hair loss.
Yeah, and speaking of stress, I think that there has not been a more stressful time, at least in recent history, for people than right now. And how have you seen the current state of affairs to basically impact a lot of women?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's been hard. You know, last year when everybody had to stay home with their kids and do the homeschooling and, you know, just even being locked down and not being able to see family. And I saw people getting so depressed and stressed out. And I saw a lot more hair loss. We're noticing that people who actually contracted the COVID virus, I've seen about 20% of those people experiencing hair loss as well.
Wow.
So it's one of those side effects of the COVID vaccine, or not vaccine, sorry, the COVID virus. We think that is tied to people having a fever for an extended period of time. That's the theory right now. But obviously, there's still a lot of information that we need to get about all of that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that I've also seen lately. A lot of people have been speaking about how the long-term effects of it have been that, like, hair loss, and just dealing with that on top of everything else has been adding to the stress too. And then it's just a never-ending cycle.
It is. And I do want to point out that the COVID hair loss is temporary. The hair will come back. So it's something that a lot of people will see about 3 months after having the virus, and then 3 months later, they'll see it start to come back. So it's like childbirth hair loss, where you lose it after you have a kid, but by their first birthday, you've got it back. So it's not something that is going to be a forever thing. So I don't want people to get scared about that.
Yeah. But for those people, and kind of like myself, who have had really a lot of hair thinning, and I've written an article that you have helped me with, for people who have experienced hair thinning, there have been a lot of at-home options, which is something that I've been trying, is the BosleyMD, the minoxidil. And as far as at-home options, so how do topical supplements and things like that factor in?
So topical products, first of all, topical products are focused on actually the issue at hand. So if we think about our scalp as an extension of our face, and we're going to concentrate on scalp health when you're talking about hair loss. So just like taking care of the skin on your face with your moisturizers and your washes and all of the different things that we put on our faces to keep looking young and healthy, we want to create a healthy environment for hair to grow on the scalp. And so it's going to do the same thing. You're applying these products, the active ingredients will start working, and it will help create that environment that you need for that hair to grow.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I have mascara in my eye.
Okay.
The bright light. I got a little bit of mascara in my eye. Yeah, and I've been really enjoying the BosleyMD, the minoxidil. But can you further go into how minoxidil works as a topical?
So minoxidil is actually originally started as a blood pressure medication. And they found out that people taking this medicine were actually growing hair that they hadn't had before. So even though we really don't know how it works, we're finding that it does increase blood flow to the hair follicles and help increase hair growth. It's the only FDA approved and clinically proven thing to regrow hair, sorry.
And what are the other Bosley options for treating hair loss from home or hair thinning?
So with BosleyMD, there is a wide variety. We have something called the 360 approach to hair regrowth. And it starts with, there are shampoos and conditioners. We have thickening treatments. We have a follicle energizing product. We have a rejuvenating scalp scrub. We have supplements that people can take. There are even styling products that all have DHT inhibitors in them. And then obviously we have the minoxidil. And all of the products work depending on what stage of hair loss you're in. So people who are looking to just possibly prevent it because they have maybe a family history of it, or they just feel like they want to see if they can get thicker, more voluminous hair, we have products for that. That would be like our defense line. And then we have products for people who have visible scalp. So it's like visibly thinning hair. That would be our Revive line. And then our follicle energizer is a spot treatment that's not a medicine, but it helps also regrow the hair. It wakes up those dormant follicles. As long as they're not dead and they're just dormant, they'll wake them up and the hair will regrow.
And
so there are all kinds.
Yeah, it's fascinating because there's different stages. And what should somebody do before they try a product? How do they know, okay, this is something that I'm actually experiencing?
So the very first thing I tell people is actually go see your doctor and get some blood work done, because you want to make sure that there aren't any underlying issues. If you have a vitamin deficiency or any autoimmune thing going on, a lot of times those things can contribute to hair loss. So you want to make sure that you don't have anything else happening. And then after you figure it out, okay, I'm good, I just need to figure out some products, the best thing that I've actually been telling people lately is go to the BosleyMD website. And there's a quiz there you take, and you can tell them what your issues are, what your symptoms are, and then they can actually prescribe a regime of products that will help you regrow your hair. And then we have our hair loss specialists that will check in on people, and there's a lot of support there for everybody. So that's what I've been having my clients do, because it's really helping them to have that support, but also everybody's situation is going to be different. And if you have a bunch of products, you don't know exactly which ones to use. So that, or talk to maybe a stylist or a trichologist who knows some things about hair loss and products to recommend.
Yeah, and as far as the different processes, at what point is it not possible to help restore hair at home?
So autoimmune problems sometimes can cause some scarring alopecias, where the follicles are just scarred over and will no longer grow hair. That would be one situation. And then just if you actually have a lot of dead follicles, even if it's not scarring, if it's just that it's been a long time and those follicles weren't necessarily woken up in time, that could be a cause for going to a hair restoration center or something like that outside of your house.
Yeah. Another thing that we had discussed previously is the importance of scalp health. And can you go further into it, why that's important as far as growing hair? Because what you already have here can't really be changed. You can't make this a little bit more voluminous, but how do you, get this part to be a lot stronger in order to grow the hair that you want?
Right, yeah, so that is focusing on making sure you're washing your hair enough, you're keeping your scalp free of oils, products, toxins, debris like smoke and dirt, things like that will clog your follicles. You want to keep those follicles open. You want to keep them active. You want to keep blood flow going to them. All of those things are going to create that healthy scalp environment for the hair to grow.
And these are all kind of things that you can do from home, especially if, because I know that there's a lot of fear about overwashing your hair, or washing it too often. And for some people, it might be the better option in order to get the hair that you would like to create a healthier scalp.
Right. And like we talked about before, I know a lot of people feel like, well, my hair is going to dry out, or my color is going to fade, and all of those things, and the reasons that people won't wash their hair very often. But if you can concentrate on just making sure that your scalp is clean and then conditioning your hair, so you can treat them as two separate things. Your scalp is your skin, so that's the extension of your face, and then your hair is completely separate from your scalp. It just happens to grow from your scalp. So look at it as two different materials in a sense. So you're going to want to take care of this as one material with moisture and protein and all of those things. And then you're going to want to take care of your scalp by keeping it clean and healthy for the hair to grow.
That's fascinating. I think we got a question if the electric scalp massager is a good option.
Electric scalp massagers can be a good option as long as it's not tugging on the hair, because that can weaken the follicle. That there's not too much friction going on, so it's not irritating and causing friction at that follicle. Honestly, I feel like manual massage, or even some of just, using your fingers, or some of those little, there's little massagers that look like they have like little nodes on them that you can, I feel like those are a better thing to use just because they're more gentle.
Yeah, and I mean, it feels better rather than like a little electronic thing just probing at you.
Yeah, or ask someone else to massage.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it. That's the best method in my opinion. So I want to get into a little bit more of the Bosley products. So there is definitely like a very methodic approach to the treatment, from the topicals to supplements and all of the different options. How do these vary in terms of what you want to get from them?
So, if I understand your question, are you asking at which stages you would use things? Is that the differences as far as how they work that way?
How does supplement differ from the topical options and vice versa?
Okay. So supplements obviously are, vitamins, right? So those are going to work from the inside out. And we have two supplements. We have men and women, and each of them are formulated to help the different issues that we have as men and women. So we have saw palmetto and pumpkin seed extract and sunflower extract, all of these different things that will from inside go into your blood flow, which will then go into the follicles, help fight that DHT, help encourage the hair growth, and help stop the hair loss. The same is true with your diet. So there are a lot of things that you can add to your diet. So where you're working from the inside out. Eggs have a ton of biotin in them. Fatty, good fats like your fatty fishes and nuts and avocados and antioxidants like blueberries and pomegranate. All those types of things are also going to help from the inside out, because when we're healthy on the inside, it moves on out throughout. And our skin is an organ. So, and actually follicles are also organs, which is why they can be transplanted.
That makes sense.
But so if you think about it, you're keeping yourself healthy from the inside, and you're keeping all of your organs healthy and that kind of thing. So, and then topical obviously is just going to kind of come from the other angle. Mm-hmm. So doing both is very important.
Yeah, that was one of the questions we just got, if both can be used at the same time and how can they complement each other.
Absolutely, yes. I highly recommend the supplements just to keep healthy head of hair in general. Even if somebody's not experiencing too much hair loss, they really help because they have the biotin and the niacin and all of the really good things that we need to keep a healthy head of hair.
And I
take them.
No, I've been using the 5% minoxidil for women, and I was wondering, how does that compare to the men's alternative?
So the only difference with the 5% is they're both 5%, but men will need to use it twice a day, and women use it once a day. That's really the only difference.
Interesting. Yeah, another question I wanted to ask is, how do you incorporate this into your routine? Is it best at night, in the morning? What would you recommend?
I recommend not doing it right before you wash your hair. So doing it after your hair is washed, even maybe after it's styled if you want to do it that way. And I always tell people, put it by your toothbrush. That way you will remember to use it, because you're going to brush your teeth every day, hopefully. So then you'll remember to use it. Because a lot of times people say, I'm not going to remember to do it. Like, keep it right there. You'll see it every day. You'll remember.
Yeah, that's actually where I've been keeping mine in the bathroom on the sink, so that way I could easily access it in the evenings is when I would use it because before I go to bed, and that way just apply it generously to the areas that I have felt a really decrease in. And I've noticed after 2 months is when I've really started to notice a little, not a little bit, but like a substantial improvement as far as I noticed my baby hairs were coming in, and there was an increase in hair on the sides of the temples, which is where I was very concerned about. And so, yeah, that's probably the best recommendation is to keep it so that way it's literally in your eyesight at all times.
Yeah, because you definitely use it every day. You don't, yeah, you have, using it every day is going to make it work.
And so what about longevity? This is something that you need to continue to use every single day, right?
Yes.
In order to.
Yes. Yeah. So, and there's a couple different schools of thought on the minoxidil. So if you're experiencing hair loss because you have that sensitivity to that DHT is always going to attack your hair follicle for your whole life. So you would need to use the minoxidil and, forever until you decide that you don't want to, use it anymore. And the new hair that has grown in is the hair that you will lose. But that's because you're constantly having that DHT attack the follicle. Now, they're finding that people who are using it for, let's say, they had a lot of hair loss from stress, and then the stress has gone away, or even childbirth and things like that, the minoxidil is helping the hair grow back, but because they don't have that DHT attacking those follicles, the hair is more likely to stay.
Oh, that's really good.
So that's what they're finding now. It used to be, no, you can't stop using it or all the hair is going to fall out. It just depends on why you're losing your hair.
Now, do heating products and styling products, do those impact your hair growth?
They don't impact the hair growth. They do impact your hair health. So unless you're using extreme heat on your scalp, which not many people are going to do if we're using irons and things that's going to be on the ends of our hair, you want to make sure you're not using a burning hot blow dryer on your scalp, because that would affect it. But generally people think, well, my hair is not growing because it's damaged down here and breaking off, but the hair grows from right here. So that's where you want to be careful what you're doing here and let the hair grow from here, so then it, will get longer. Now, a lot of times people think, oh, my hair is falling out because I'm using hot tools. No, it's breaking off at the ends. They're two completely different things.
Yeah, no, that's really truly just so fascinating, because I think there's so much misconception about what goes on here, and there's so much that you still have yet to learn. And
right.
Is there anything else that we should know about taking care of your hair and your scalp from home, and how to incorporate the BosleyMD products?
Just, I think in general, pay attention to what you're doing with your diet. Concentrate on, lowering your stress levels. Get some exercise, drink a lot of water. As far as using the products, like I said, go onto that website and take that quiz, and it will pop up right away. We recommend these things, and you can even get a subscription where things are delivered to your house with the products to use, and then you can always talk to one of the hair loss specialists when you have questions. And yeah, I really think that it's one of the best systems I've seen, and the support is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I've been really enjoying using the product. And we have another question. Is there any tips that you would give to prevent hair loss?
So preventing hair loss, honestly, again, it's just taking care of yourself and making sure that you're healthy and watching your stress levels, talking to your doctor if you are on medications, because going on new ones and getting off of them can mess up your hair. And then if you are entering menopause, for instance, starting the products now, because that's the time when women can actually start to see that DHT starting to attack the follicles because our hormones are changing and that testosterone's there more and our estrogen levels are dropping and that kind of thing. That can help prevent some of that menopausal hair loss as well.
Amazing.
So it really just depends on why you feel like you might lose your hair, how you're going to end up preventing it.
Yeah.
And then also another thing I'd like to do is sunscreen is really important. So it's really, I live in the Denver metro area and the sun here is so strong. It's like kind of ridiculous. So if you have a part, you know, or any of your scalp is going to be exposed to the sun, I highly recommend using sunscreen or wearing a hat, because getting sunburn can actually scar your scalp and those follicles and cause some hair loss.
Well, I think that that's probably like a very good tip, especially right now since it is still summer and people are still outside. So that's truly something that people do forget if they're not putting on sunscreen every day as it is. That's a very easy area kind of to just gloss over, and you really shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. And when I say that too, is if you're using sunscreen on your hair, because like I'll just take like spray sunscreen and put it on my scalp, make sure that you wash it off, because sunscreen can kind of be thick, and that's like a product that you want to make sure that is not clogging up your follicles and things like that. So you just want to make sure you wash it if you're using the sunscreen.
All right. And yeah, on that note, I think we have another question. Sorry. Do you have any shampoo or product recommendations for dry scalp? And does dry scalp also play a factor in hair health?
Dry scalp can, because it will create a lot of extra skin that will also block the follicles. So what I would recommend are two things. There are two Bosley products that are really good. We have a dandruff shampoo, an anti-dandruff shampoo that has Perithian zinc in it, and that will help even out the pH of the scalp and control the dandruff and dryness. Also, the rejuvenating scalp scrub is an exfoliator for the scalp, and it has activated charcoal and dissolving sugar crystals. And so when you put it on your hair or on your scalp and you're massaging it in, the crystals are actually going to dissolve, so you don't feel like you have sand in your hair or anything like that, but it takes off a lot of that dry scalp and opens up the follicles again.
Oh, wow. Love a physical exfoliation. That's
Yeah.
That's a great product. I think that also another thing that's overlooked is just the other things that you should be doing in treating your scalp better, because it does age like what, 10 times faster than regular skin.
Well, I mean, it just kind of depends, because it depends on how much oil you have going to your scalp and your environment, how much water you're drinking. You know, our scalps can tend to get drier faster just because we're also not moisturizing our scalps like we do our skin every day.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
great point.
yeah, so like we're not thinking of it as, oh my gosh, I need to put on my anti-wrinkle cream twice a day, like we do with our faces. So our scalps aren't getting as much love with the moisture as the rest of our skin is.
I guess if we don't have any further questions, I really want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us, because it's the end of the Hair Loss Awareness Month, and I can't think of a better person to speak on this topic. You've been incredibly insightful. If you want to know any further details about BosleyMD, feel free to follow them at BosleyMD. And Gretchen, you can follow her at Gretchen_@_Foushee. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, Foushee, but that's fine. But
Foushee.
I've logged in from that account now since the Bosley one wasn't working, which I apologize for. But so it's right here, so you can go ahead and follow me here if you'd like to.
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any further questions, go to edit.com. We have a new article with Gretchen's insight on my personal hair story that you can see before and afters. And yeah, thank you so much again.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.